Hopefully you can hear me and I'm not talking to myself like I was last week. Kind of had to change things over very quickly on the fly. So if you're new here, welcome. I'm Brittany. My channel is The Cosmic Lunar Soul. Some people will just call me Cosmic, so whatever you want to do, feel free. So today's going to be a little unique because I'm going to pull out my coins here. You can hear them. I've been wanting to switch up the lives a little bit to make them a little more unique. I still have my Oracle deck. I'm going to do the community read with the coins, but like for any tips or anything like that, I'm going to stick with the Oracle deck. So if you'd like a more in-depth reading, you can use the tip links in my description. And we have quite a few people in the queue, so let me read off who I have. If you feel like you should hear your name and you don't hear it, sometimes when people join very quickly, back to back, sometimes Streamlabs just kind of has a little bit of a hiccup. So I have Ari, Sherry, Miss Ishi, Lilith, Midnight, and Infinity. So welcome, guys. Happy Friday. Hope you guys are doing well. I know, jingle, jingle, right? Whoop. Loan coin. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm just gonna set this up here to make some space. So let's get the community read going. I'm gonna just give this a quick little shake. And I'm gonna pick 3 coins to mimic the 3 cards I would normally pick. So we have, all right. And I have my little cheat sheet here off to the side because I haven't used my coins in a while. So we have the moon, or referred to as Luna. Let me see if I can zoom in a bit. I have Luna here, which I think I just scared her off. Nope, I didn't. She's still there. And then I have the star, and then I have the crow. So Luna is a lot of feminine energy. Generally, this is more of a passive coin. So this is kind of like go with the flow, tap into your subconscious, work on your intuition. This is where like more of the spiritual, I won't say necessarily internal, but more so of the spiritual, relaxed kind of energy. And where you tap more so into oneself versus tapping into like outside sources. And ultimately this can deal with like just your subconscious mind. So here we have the star. The star represents hope, renewal, and inspiration. So, if you get the star, this urges you forward to keep it moving, try something new. And since this is at the center of the reading, I think this might be the core of, as a community, what we should be looking into. So if you've been wanting to try something new, if you're going on any adventures, I kind of know what this is for me. But if you have anything like that planned and you've been thinking about it, teetering on it, I feel like, it's kind of like this, go back to the moon and go with the flow, enjoy the process. How does it, mesh with your subconscious? Just let yourself flow through that adventure. Don't take it necessarily so seriously that you just create these like very drastic rules and this rigidity about that process. But one of the keywords for this star here is celestial harmony and raw power. So we have that. And then we have the crow. The crow, this crow is in flight. This represents happiness, liberation, wisdom, and also messages and communication. So I think in terms of like, finding that adventure, part of it is tapping into what does your subconscious really, really want right now? And versus like, where do you feel like you can find freedom? Where do you feel like, or maybe this is like a sign that you might be getting a message about some adventures that you have coming forward as well. So let me zoom back out a little bit. Wrong way. Okay. Ruby, these coins are from, oh God, they're from a Kickstarter, and I don't remember. Let me look real quick. Let's see. I bought these a while ago, actually. They're by, I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, but Zia Hunt. They do like really, really, really cool divination mats. And I think they have just like a plethora of stuff. Let's see. Let me find their shop and I can share it with you guys. I don't know that they have the coins though. They used to. Doesn't look like it, but I'll share the shop, and you can always subscribe. They might come back out with them. So if you'd like the coins. Yes, I think it is Children of Litha. That sounds very familiar. And I don't know. I feel like I'd be lying to you, honestly. I got these so long ago that I just simply don't remember anymore. Actually, it wasn't even that long ago. I think it was like only 2 years ago. It was about 2 years ago. I think Etsy too. But these were the Kickstarter. And no, Robin, I didn't see the new Game of Thrones tarot. Why are you doing this to me? Because you know I'm going to look it up now. Alrighty, let's get started with the queue. Ari, go ahead, put your question in the chat while we wait for Ari. I'm going to look up the new Game of Thrones tarot. Oh, the House of Dragons. Is it a new House of Dragons tarot? Oh, no, that's the same deck. Let's see. Maybe it's this one. Robin, I think you should be able to share link. If you have a link to it, let me know. So, send it to me and I'll see if I've seen it. Man, I can't believe my other like program just kind of conked out on me. Alrighty, let's see. All right, let's see if you're more likely to get into North Texas or Tennessee, Knoxville. I've been trying to get through the latest season of House of Dragons. It's simply not interesting. Like, I'm just basically like, where are the Black people at? And any other time, I'm like, I don't care about you guys. All right, North Texas and Tennessee. Let's see, Tennessee. Definitely Tennessee. So for North Texas, you have the 3 of Coins, reverse 5 of Spears, which is wands in this deck. And then for Tennessee, Knoxville, you have the star card, which is ironic because it kind of matches our community read. So a lot of star energy going on, along with justice. So I feel like this is saying that North Texas is going to be more of an uphill battle. And maybe you don't quite have the qualifications for what North Texas is looking for whatever the program is that you're wanting to do. Whereas the star, you feel very much more in line with that. The star, of course, you know, like this is really the card of like desires and manifesting wishes and all of that. And justice suggests that as long as you do your due diligence in regards to the application, like don't half-ass the application, don't half-ass the essay, don't half-ass your like exams to get in, whatever the requirements are to get in, as long as you put in the right energy, I feel like that the justice card is saying like you're going to get the right energy back. Whereas this feels like North Texas is very competitive, and the three of coins in reverse really feels like maybe you just have like a lot of things stacked up against you in terms of qualifications. I mean, honestly, it could be. It could very well be. You can also look at the three of coins as like maybe their program doesn't stack up for your needs, because if you look at different universities, they have similar programs, but sometimes they're just different enough that it's not quite what you're looking for. And therefore you might have to really fight to make it work for you. And school is too expensive to be doing that. But overall, I absolutely like that you have 2 major arcana here. I feel like that means that this is more of an important path for you versus the other one. And ultimately, it just focuses on you doing your due diligence along the way, whatever that might mean for your school, for your program, blah, blase, blase, you know. Yeah, I know schools in North Texas overall are just very competitive in different regards for different things, but just overall, because I've had buddies tell me about it. Fashion merchandising is really cool, though. All right, Sherry, go ahead, put your question in the chat. And sorry, guys, I forgot to turn down the latency for this live, so I think I'm very much ahead of you guys. So I'll try to like slow down and just talk through things, because I'm sure the chat is going to catch up after. All right, let's see what good things are coming your way. You're welcome, Ari. Good luck with your apps and interviews and whatever it is the school does. All right, what good things are coming, Sherry? Ooh. Yeah, it's very expensive. I will literally get on a soapbox if I let myself. So these cards look a little, I feel like I forgot to, yes, I did forget. I'm using the Game of Thrones Tarot. So if you're new to this deck, overall, it's a darker aesthetic deck. I just don't want you guys freaking out when you see certain cards, like these, for example. But overall, I feel like the next 2 months for you, Sherry, are going to like slow down. Maybe I won't say unexpectedly, but like if you've been like just go, one thing after the next with very little breaks, very little time for yourself, I think the next 2 months you're going to find that things are finally going to start to slow down for you. I will say that in that slow time, it will open you up for the ability to finally seek help for the things that you've been needing. It doesn't necessarily need to be a good or bad thing. I think it's just a good thing that you now have the time to do that. So if you've been needing to get something done, or if you've been needing help with something and you just haven't had the time to seek that out, this Five of Cups here really suggests that you are going to be able to start doing that, because emotionally, I feel like things have been really hard in the sense that you've, when you're in that like perpetual state of just having to push forward, it's really hard for you to reflect on like the good things that have been happening around you. So now that things are slowing down, I think that's really what's going to start to happen. So sorry, it's throwing me off a little because these are sort of opposing cards to your question, but I think that if you have been struggling emotionally with this, and I think it might have to do with this Devil card here, if you've been struggling to find the good and positive things that have been happening around you, and that you've kind of been maybe mildly, I won't say obsessing, but like hyper fixated, hyper focused on those things, I feel like these cards are saying, like, you know, this down period is going to be the prime opportunity where you can really start to really tackle and ultimately release this energy. So usually readings like this, I would ask, you know, what is it that you feel like you need to focus on in order to overcome, and reflect on that. And then I would generally draw more cards. If this wasn't like a live stream, this is what I do for my clients, and say, like, you know, you have this Five of Cups, you have this Devil. These are the important things that you really need to focus on. You already know that you're going to have some downtime coming, but how are you going to tackle this? So I would say for you, when you start to feel things start to settle out, where you finally feel like you have the moment to really take a breather, I would say, then how do you feel like you can best refocus yourself so you're not seeing only the negative? How can you reflect back on the positive? How can you look forward to things that are more positive? This can be things like just overall journaling, noticing patterns, or just going more so with the positive affirmations each day, whatever that looks like. It's a little different process for everyone, but I do recommend, Sherry, that you focus on these things, focus on that release. I do think that, and maybe it's just me, I feel like fall and winter is such a great time to just release things as the calendar year is ending and we start to enter the shorter periods of the year, the darker period of the year. We start to enter more of like what I feel like is more of a liminal space. So it's a really great time to start to do these things. But yeah, I think with this Devil card too, Sherry, I would be careful about whatever bad habits you've been carrying with you that you maybe not necessarily intentionally have been just putting on the back burner, but because of time, it's just not a priority. And how can you prioritize removing those habits? What are you holding on to? What's taking up your time and energy? Stuff like that. I'm so tired of being hot too, Robin. Like, you know, I always say I like the darker periods of the year, but I will say, like, after COVID, it's just like the darker periods of the year hit me so hard. I realized I have to really be diligent about keeping up my vitamin D, or else I'll get like a little bit of the depressies. All right, Miss Ishi, you are up next. You've been getting cool days, Ruby? I say that, and there were like 2 cool days. You're You're welcome, Sherry. Oh yeah, guys, make sure you like this video. I need all the help I can get tonight, apparently, with how the internet is interneting. I really like the transition seasons. I love spring and I love fall. And then after that, it's winter. And then begrudgingly spring because I have to put it somewhere in the list. I just really like fall fashion, like boots and sweaters and layers and like cute little headbands, you know, like the ear muff thingies that go around your head. I love that stuff. And that's where you get into the spiced wines, the mulled wines. This is where like I think my first Ren Fair was in the fall, so I associate Ren Fair with fall, even though where I live now, that's not the case. But I know, pure chaos. All right, Ishi. Last call for Ishi. If you are still hanging out, you are free to rejoin. What do you mean some remnants of a tropical storm stuck around too long? Let's see if a relationship will come out of that, Ishi. See, I always associate spiced wine with like, I mean, I guess Thanksgiving-ish. Is that winter? Is that technically winter? I don't know. I don't think it is. So I don't think this person is endgame. You guys might have a bit of relationship, but it's definitely not going to be like the person. So we have the Queen of Swords in reverse, the Knight of Swords upright, and then the Hanged Man reverse. I do think that if you guys get involved, that it will last longer than it probably should. You guys aren't on the same page. We have the King and Queen and King of the same suit, which is usually a good sign, but you guys aren't on the same page. You're seeing things opposed from each other. Oh yeah, no problem. Ishi, thanks for joining. So with that being said, the reason I feel like it might last longer than it should is that on the surface, you guys are both the same suit, right? We have swords here. More intellectual, like more thoughtful, more the logistic side of the connection. And on the end here, we have the Hangman reversed. And I just think that with this Hangman here, perhaps you're going to realize that things aren't working out in the way, or there's just not the right connection that you really are wanting, I would say, but you're trying to tough it out instead of just sacrificing the relationship. Sorry, I'm trying to like say the right words because I don't mean it to sound so like bleak and dismal, but it's definitely more of a like it's basically asking you to rethink what it is you want out of the relationship and whether this connection makes sense for what it is that you want. So the Queen of Swords, generally thoughtful, very really the queens in general are very nurturing. The kings in general are very thoughtful. And then when you pair them with the swords, the queen can be very knowledgeable about mm, how she gives her emotions and nurtures the world around her, including herself. But because this is reversed, I feel like this queen is actually sacrificing that part of herself. You you can it can create more of a like the queen is more on the defensive than being able to relax and ease into her queenness, whereas the king is really taking control of the situation. So I don't want to outright say this person's controlling. I just think that there is a dynamic here that doesn't allow you the control that you probably should have in the relationship. This balance of control, I should say. So this king upright, very, very intelligent, very logical, sometimes too cerebral. I don't think anything is malicious, so don't like freak out about that. I just think that because you guys kind of move in a similar enough way, but just different enough that things are going to clash. So, where you're wanting to move logically, but you have what I like, well, what the world calls EQ, emotional intelligence. You will do things slightly different than someone who has more of the not less emotional intelligence. So that's kind of what I'm getting into. And it's okay that you guys aren't on the same page. It doesn't have to be. But I will say, the second part of your question is sort of a separate reading, but just gleaning what I see here. This feels like very much you are realizing that when I mentioned with the hangman in reverse, you're realizing what it is you truly want, and that will set you on the right path to find the right king for you. So hopefully that helps, but timing is so hard with tarot. I don't want to really give you a time frame in that. I can try to see if there's a quick, because this process hasn't happened, it's very nebulous. This process could take its own amount of time. So, yeah, you have the Emperor. I think in reverse, I think this is really saying, once you get through this main process, reassess, and then you can find out what that timing looks like. I try to be at least fairly transparent about my feelings with timing and tarot, making sure that you guys are, I'm not leading you on. Yeah, the colors in this deck are misleading when you look at them. Let me see. Yeah. So it's misleading because you think very blue with cups, right? But not, and very red with fire, but no, these guys are both swords. I make that mistake periodically myself. Okay, guys, I'll be right back. Give me 5 seconds. I'm so sorry. Okay, guys, I'm back. Give me 5 seconds. I'm so sorry. All right. So it's misleading because, like you think, very blue with cups, right? But no, and very red with fire. But no, these guys are both swords. I make that mistake periodically myself. Alrighty. I am back. Sorry about that. You're very welcome. Ishi, good luck. Alrighty, Lilith, you are up next. And then in the queue, I have Midnight, Infinity, and Luke, who just joined. Yeah, I recall that vaguely. I never really consider the chakras for that. I don't work with chakras, so I literally don't remember a single one of them. Yeah, so the Game of Thrones deck is actually kind of all over the place with color. So when I was using it regularly, I got very used to it, but I've only recently pulled it back out. Like this actually, I think it was probably this was one of the early decks that I got, and it used to be my workhorse deck, meaning I would use this for readings of when I would do other people's readings. And before I had enough decks to start to switch out. So I got very used to Infinity. Hopefully you heard me read off the list. You are second up. Maybe to be but yeah, the colors are quite interesting. They're once you get used to them, you realize they're just generic. They're just the art of the deck. They're not color coded. And once you wrap your head around that, which takes a while, it starts to feel a little more in sync. I've never once considered purple swords. Alrighty, let's call for Lilith. I'm trying to think of my Dark Reflections deck. Okay, Midnight, you are up next. Do you want me to pull an oracle card for you or a coin for you? Robin's always full of the wealth of knowledge, though. Like Robin and Laura and them always know the stuff that confuses me and makes sense of it. I think she has the vampires. Sure. All right, let's see. Energy for next week. Funny. Speaking of heart chakra, you got the heart. All right, let's see what the heart is. So the heart represents our emotions, love, and relationship. This heart shows internal transmutation process of transforming lesser emotions that block the path to enlightenment, such as hate, greed, and fear, into higher ones that elevate the psyche and fuel the soul. It teaches us that this is only by working through and with the lesser emotions that we may fully come to know and embrace the higher. All right. So you have the heart here. Let's go ahead and let me highlight here. Okay, there we go. Energy for the next week. Oh, look, our first repeat card of the night. Okay. So I feel like, the energy for the week is really going to be with the King's. Yeah, I'll go in order. It doesn't matter here. With the King of Swords, I would say that the energy of the week for you is really about finding order and structure throughout the week. Sometimes I really associate the King of Swords similarly to the Emperor in the sense that but on the side where the King of Swords is much more like thoughtful in the process, where it's very deliberate about the path and choices that they make. And I feel like that can be reflected here in the Knight of Coins, where here the king is the leader, understands where it is he wants to go, understands what path it is and what his path should look like. And then the knight is the doer, where he is being very deliberate in the steps that he takes to get there. The Knight of Coins is perfect for you, in my opinion, because the Knight of Coins is more so like, the slow and steady wins the race kind of knight. And doesn't necessarily fall into the trap of like the other knights or being a little too impulsive. It's very much more so the planner, has a lot more roots about him, so takes his time in going through that process. So I feel like next week is really saying like, set your plans for the week. You don't have to rush through them, and it's also okay if you don't necessarily get everything done. But at least you can start to create that plan to see what your week looks like. And going back to this heart here, what does that look like in regards to the things that you care about? So if we look at the Six of Spears, the Six of Wands in this deck, this is reversed. So this signifies that you might face a few delays. So despite all your hard planning, some of the work you've been putting in, which is why I was saying before, you might not get everything done. That is fine. Don't let that slow you down. Don't let that distract you from how you're moving throughout the week. I feel like more so with the Six of Spears, what it's saying is like, you might get stuff done, but you might not reap the rewards of that quite yet. So depending what you're doing, if what you're doing requires like the outcome of it to feel like it's completed, maybe that outcome hasn't happened yet, but it's still in work. So I feel like this week is definitely more of an actionable week. I know a lot of times in tarot you tend to get more of the relax and rejuvenate and focus on your rest and whatever, but I feel like this week is the opposite, but not in the Knight of Wands kind of way or Knight of Swords kind of way, more so in the slow and steady, pick something to do, be productive in a kind of way, and don't worry if you don't get everything done. Don't worry if things are sort of dragged into the week after, maybe, or a deadline. You push a deadline out, something like that. Oh, your card of the day was the Knight of Pentacles. And look who's in the center of your reading. I love that. So for my Game of Thrones lore here. For the folks that know Game of Thrones, this is Brienne of Tarth. She is very much the embodiment of the Knight of Coins, in my opinion. Very much a get her done type person, but very grounded in the sense of how she does things. So, perfect night for the Knight of Coins. And I like that I pulled a coin for you for the Knight of Coins. You're welcome. I love doing readings for you. So I'm always happy when you can make my lives and you actually join the queue. It's fun. It's fun to see the progression of the readings I do for my friends. Infinity, you are up next. So an ebook that I reserved from Libby is up and ready to be borrowed. I wish it was like this time next week. I've been waiting for this book forever. All right. Sorry, guys, got distracted. Libby is really good if you like to read audio ebooks or if you like to listen to audiobooks. So, but the problem is you have to wait for them. All right, Infinity, are you and Leo going to be together romantically? Are you guys friends? What's your current status with this person? Friends, exes, someone new? I did. I pushed it out 2 days because 2 days tends to turn into a week the way Libby works. So I absolutely love Libby and I have a few libraries and I want to get some more. Want to catch them all. Okay, he's an acquaintance. So you have the Knight of Coins, which is the Knight of Pentacles. You have, King of Coins, aka King of Pentacles. You have the Knight of Swords reversed, and then you have the Moon. Nothing here really suggests that there's anything romantic that happens. In fact, it seems like maybe it starts to lead to that, but with this Knight of Swords in reverse in the middle of your reading here makes me think that something goes wrong. So the Knight of Swords, the Knight of Swords can be a very charismatic person, but in reverse, it feels more manipulative than actually genuine. Like consciously manipulative. Whereas like if you think of like the Knight of Cups is a really charismatic person and sometimes emotionally manipulative, whereas they're like thoughtfully manipulative. So I worry here in how things may go. I will also caveat my reading is like, I'm a girl slinging cards on the internet. Go with your gut on these things as you talk with people. Don't let this be the end all be all of how you proceed through life. With that being said, I have the King of Coins here. This feels very much like your energy, and this feels very much like their energy. I feel like here the King of Coins, like, really solidly set in their position on things. Like, you kind of have your life looking the way that you want it to look. It may not be perfect, what life is, right? But you have your specific hold on life, and you're living it in your own confidence. And then here comes this knight to uproot everything. I'd be very careful about letting them do that, because on the flip side here you have the moon, which the moon can be a really good card. Paired with these, it feels more so like you're not getting the full picture of things. So one of the concepts of the moon is like, when you have a really bright moon in the sky, it can shine light on some of the thing. It can illuminate light on things, but unlike the sun, it leaves a lot of shadows. So it leaves a lot of mystery and guessing. And I think that means like this person isn't being fully honest with your Leo is not being fully honest with what it is they want out of things. Could try to pull you into something that they're saying they want, but really turns out they're just kind of leading you along, and ultimately it ends up being just not what you wanted at all. Another big concept of the moon is to trust your intuition. So it's kind of what I was getting at before in the very early part of beginning of this reading. Trust your intuition as you go through things. I'm not suggesting that you don't try to pursue this person. Just pursue with caution. Trust yourself as things happen. When red flags pop up to you, make sure you take note of that and decide, like, what is ultimately right for you, what's good for you, and what's fair to you. But yeah, I would say that ultimately I don't see anything romantic. Yeah. The Knight of Swords in reverse gives me a little pause, because a lot of times these things aren't malicious. It's just kind of like the circumstances aren't right, but that doesn't feel right for this reading. I worry about the person's character. Alrighty, Luke, last but not least. How serendipitous that you pull out the Crow Tarot and one of the community coins was a crow. I like seeing patterns in all of my readings. It's really fun. You're welcome, Infinity. Thank you so much for being so patient and understanding of my multitude of technical difficulties. So I have a little cat bed. So this is a desk here. I have a little cat bed that's directly under this desk. Off camera, you can kind of see the little stand here. This is my ring light. My PC is right here. And I feel like if I weave a line down, I feel like I can set up a little cat cam with my GoPro. I'm gonna see if I can try it out whenever Mercury stops Gatorating, because obviously I can barely do my regular live stream today without issues. But I feel like you guys deserve a little bit of the Space Cadets on this channel, so I'm gonna figure it out. Okay, let's see, Luke. Where are you with energy right now? Do you want an oracle card or a coin? And I'm glad you're feeling better since your challenges. It's really good. It kind of sounded like you were in a nice little groove going. No, I want the world to spy on my cat, Robin. Well, there's also, my cats have usurped my meditation pillow, which is under my desk just to save space. So one of them, without a doubt, will usually like lay on it. So I'm gonna see. No, I'll see. I'll see if I have a cord long enough to do it, an HDMI cord long enough to do it. All right, Luke. Let's see where you are in your energy right now. Ooh, you have the Ouroboros. Okay. So the Ouroboros is a symbol of the cycles of just like life and death, growth and death, I guess. Um, Mortality, immortality, stuff like that. But the symbol of the snake, they're grounded creatures and really contrast the crows that we had earlier. So I feel like ultimately this is like a representation of just life and fate and how things are connected throughout your life. So let's see how that reflects in the tarot. Last card. Here we go. All right. This is our first completely upright reading for the night as well. So I'm going to start in the beginning and work forward. Again, cycles. So your theme, I feel like your theme in your overall energy right now is just the cycles of where you are and just understanding that you were, based off of what you were saying before, you're leaving one cycle and entering a new. And it feels like specifically this new cycle has to do with maybe more of a high swing in the cycle, feels more of a positive thing in terms of like higher energy, more positive emotions, more inspiration, that side of stuff. So you were on what I will say is the upswing in this Ouroboros cycle. And I think that you are swinging into finding something that you really care about emotionally. So we have the Ace of Cups. I don't think I read all of these out. Sorry. Wheel of Fortune, Ace of Cups, and Six of Spears or Wands. So going into the Ace of Cups, you are really entering something new that you are emotionally invested in. And this doesn't have to be something, it doesn't have to be emotions in regards to other people. I think it's just something that you really care about, in the sense that it probably has to do with you. So you're doing something for yourself that just really makes you happy and ultimately heightens your emotional state in some kind of way. That's kind of what I'm getting at. I will say the Ace of Cups, we've had discussions already and you alluded to it in chat, so I feel like I already know this. This is probably your journey of reading through the guidebooks. It's something that's fulfilling to you in a kind of way. You feel like you're really doing something that is meaningful to you. And ultimately with the Six of Spears, it feels like you're really doing something inspirational. So we have this both sides, even though cups and so cups and wands tend to mute each other out, which in your case, I think it's kind of a good thing. It forms a balance instead of a struggle, I feel like right now. So we're on the cup side, this is something that's probably emotionally fulfilling, where it's starting to fill your emotional cups that you might not have felt like you've been doing much of in the recent past anyways. But the Six of Spears really feels like you're kind of standing tall. You have this air of victory about you, a little bit of confidence that's coming from this. And it might not be an intentional outcome, but that's one of the outcomes. Maybe you feel more confident in how you're using your decks. Maybe you feel more confident in how you speak to others about your decks. That can manifest in a lot of different ways, but I think you're really in a nice bubble of energy right now. What I will say too is going back to these cycles, right? Ultimately, these are really, really great cards. Just understand that sometimes you're not going to feel the greatness of them all the time, but it's always there. It's just a matter of how our mind is processing the cycle that we're going through. And sometimes it just doesn't, what's a good word? It's not necessarily as fulfilling in the moment, but ultimately it's still the same great energy and you're still utilizing it. You're still learning, growing, whatever it is. So I would say, Luke, that if your keyword in regards to the energy that you're focusing on right now is cycles. So I feel like I've kind of told you that a few times, just in general. I think you go through them maybe a little quicker than other people do in terms of like cycling through different just overall energies. And right now you're in a really good state. So trust yourself, enjoy yourself, that kind of thing. I love when things match up too. I should do a spread series about like utilizing coins. I still have to do my bones video. I have a few videos I have to do before my trip. Oh, someone earlier, I think it was Robin, you asked how my trip was. It was good. It was really fun. Seattle's really pretty and the weather was beautiful, even though it rained a little bit, but yeah. Yeah, good job. Keep it up, Luke. Alrighty. Yeah, I need to do my bones. So if you guys haven't seen yet, I've started a new series where it's called Spread Wisdom, and the idea is I will talk through my readings and explain my thought process, both in like whether I'm reading for myself or reading for someone else. So if you have been struggling with certain types of stuff, certain readings, I've already released like one about general readings. I've done like 3-card spreads, and oh, it was Ruby. I've done one how to pick a tarot deck, how to decide when to pick cards in a reading, extra cards in a reading. I think my next one is going to be a mini series within the series of my favorite versions of the Celtic Cross. I think that would be really fun, where I do a traditional one and then I have another favorite and then I found another one and talk through why, within that mini series, talk through why I might use one over another. And if you guys have ideas of different spreads or concepts that you think I should talk through, let me know. You can always let me know on Discord too. You don't have to do it now. I don't know about Portland. I haven't been there. I've heard good things, but the Pacific Northwest in general is nice-ish. It's weird. Seattle's a weird city. But I did enjoy my time there. I like Seattle. Also, if you are going to be here on Sunday, join me and Priscilla. We're going to be doing the, what is it? Hashtag Tarot Bartender for our tarot podcast. We're going to go through, this is by Sapling Tarot. So if you haven't seen that, it is hashtag Tarot Bartender. And You can either join us and pick some decks with us. You can, in the comments, tell us what decks you would have chosen for this prompt, or what you thought about our choices, stuff like that. We're going to be doing that this Sunday, the 25th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So our normal time. And Syl just released a Hay House video over at A Life Full of Simplicity, so go ahead and check that out. Midnight, it will absolutely involve something. I don't know what yet, but have a great weekend, guys. I will see you on Sunday. Make sure you like this video. If you would like to join us, go ahead, continue chatting over on Discord. I'll see you guys. Yeah, I'll see you guys on Sunday. Bye.